Hey guys, Jujubear here. Welcome back to the channel. Now I've got a pretty special battle here with CONCEIVABLE from the AVA clan. It was a very good battle. I'm not going to say how it turned out, but that's all I'm going to give you. A very good battle. Let's run through the armor elses here. So I've got very strong flanks. I've been having a bit of success with this GETAE build recently. I'm just going to put it in slow motion for a sec. So I've got my my noble swords out in the flanks. Very strong sword unit there. I've got two heavy spears, one on each flank. They both have cavalry counter tactics and shield screen as well. So medium heavy spear, or it's funny how they name them heavy spears, but they're actually a medium spear unit. It's kind of bizarre. And I've also got here spear horsemen to hold on those flanks as well. So in the center, I've got 4 mercenary axe warriors, and I've got 4 noble horsemen. These guys are very expensive. I think it's like 1,300 something talons each. And anyone who's coming up against the GETAE, don't really expect a player to bring many, if any, of these. So bringing 4 can be quite a shock. Literally, a very heavy shock to my opponent. But you get it? Anyway, let's jump into the battle while I show off CONCEIVABLE's army. He's got 2 Celto-Iberian cav on each flank. He's got these Iberian spearmen, and as soon as he saw what I was doing, he brought them into the center. He's got 4 of them. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 Iberian slingers, and a lot of these Scutari units. 1, 2, 3, 3 in the center, noble fighters over there, 1 noble fighter over here, and an Iberian swordsman out in that flank. So straight away, what I'm going to do is box up with my flanks, and then engage with my cav in the front. So what I'm doing is a bit of a 1-2 punch kind of thing. I'm going to engage with my cav and then throw my mercenary axe warriors in. You may have seen me doing this in a couple of other battles recently. So I've knocked down his Iberian spearmen. These guys are only medium spear infantry, so we're going to pretty much crush those guys. Now I'm going to pull out my own noble horseman, sorry, and take on his Celto-Iberian cav that are coming around my flanks. I'm going to engage his spears with my noble swords. They're going to do quite well in that engagement. Noble fighters over here fighting up against noble swords. They're probably going to take each other out. Over here, we see CONCEIVABLE's wrapping around. He's wrapping around with his units, so I'm going to have to give him some answer to that. I'm bringing my heavy spears in to maybe hold these units and engage with spear horsemen. And I'm taking my other noble horsemen around here, and I'm going to plow into his Iberian swordsmen and get around the flanks there. Over here, we're getting much of the same thing. Noble horsemen coming up against these Celto-Iberian cavalry. I'm happy for him to charge into my shock cavalry, and then I'm going to reinforce with my spear horsemen and heavy spears. So I'm pretty happy with this engagement. Noble fighters up against this noble swords. I'm going to have to make sure I keep an eye on what's going on there. They're all in the center. My mercenary axe warriors are doing okay where they did get a nice charge. Like over here with Scutari down 80 men. Scutari 110. But you can see here they're just kind of failing. Those spears that were reinforcing in the center have just crumbled under the weight of the onslaught of my noble horsemen. And it looks like I'm winning these cav engagements fairly quickly against these Celto-Iberian cav. I did finish off his sword unit over there, this Iberian sword, and I'm going to get a nice recharge into these noble fighters, hopefully even out that fight. Though he is breaking through over here with his noble fighters, doing a really great job, getting a lot of kills in a very short amount of time, 112 there. So where I didn't get a good charge on his units, he's actually going to be winning those engagements. So I'm going to pull out with my spear horsemen and noble horsemen and get some nice, cycle charges, that kind of thing. I'm going to finish off this Celto-Iberian cav and pull out. Don't want to leave my units in combat with any noble fighters for too long. He's got a Scutari over here. I don't think I had an attack order on those units. No, I didn't. Yep, so pretty much sacrificing that noble horseman there. Not very good micro for me. I think what I'm doing is microing over here. So I've got my spear horseman into the back of his noble fighters again, and then I'm going to pull out. And I've got my heavy spears coming into his noble fighters, just to hold them up for a bit while I get a nice rear charge organized. So here what I'm doing is recharging, pulling out, recharging with 2 different units. I'm winning the center with a couple of charges from my noble horsemen. Over here is a very similar situation. Now this is what I'm worried about over here. So I'm getting a nice charge into the noble fighters at 106 men, 105. But he is shredding me with these slingers. So I'm going to have to try and do something about it. So what I'm doing is getting my noble horsemen, going to thread the gap, maybe push back a couple of his slingers units. Just make sure they're busy. Or busy enough to stop firing at my friggin' noble sword general. I do have a spear horseman that's at 70 men left, so that's pretty good. It looks like I'm wrapping up a couple of engagements around the place, especially over here with the Scutari and the noble fighters finally going down after 133 kills there. Nice stuff. I am starting to silence a couple of his slingers, but they have done a lot of damage so far. 49 kills, 46. Not too bad. They're very cheap units though, so I shouldn't really be allowing this kind of thing to happen. Getting my Noble Horseman into these guys. Gonna get a lot of kills. Almost 300 kills on that guy there. Now I'm gonna bring this Spear Horseman around here and do a bit of a rear charge into these units because they are starting to fall, but they could easily win this this engagement if it stays the way it is. So finishing off these slingers, making sure that I'm wrapping up those engagements, don't want them coming back. But he does have this pesky Noble Fighter over here, almost 300 kills in that unit, and it is definitely going to pose a big threat for the endgame. Getting this Noble Horseman with only 4 men left around the place and just finishing off different units, going to pull away from these Iberian Spearmen over here. He does have a couple coming back from the earlier engagements. Now get this, like, I have a Noble Horseman, got a good charge into these Iberian Slingers, but they're being destroyed by them. I think it's just due to the very low melee defense or something of these Noble Horsemen. So what I really should be doing is charging into one and then charging into the next. Not really wasting my time trying to get too many kills. We're going to finally finish off this Noble Fighter over here. Over here we've got a Noble Fighter that is engaged. I'm going to send another Mercenary Axe Warrior in to help out this Heavy Spear. I've got a Spear Horseman, going to get a nice rear charge into these units. What I really should be doing at this point is just consolidating my units. Because I got, you know, separated engagements all across the battlefield, like this kind of thing. I've only got 32 Noble Horsemen left, and they're getting caught by the Iberian Spearmen. I'm trying to chase with these Mercenary Axe Warriors, but yeah, just silly stuff, really. I should be like just pulling units away and consolidating, that kind of thing. But I was kind of keen to finish off the battle. I felt like I was pretty confident that I was going to win this. I'll let you guys decide if I was being a bit too hasty or not. Here's Noble Fighter General. How many kills? Almost 400 there. That's pretty amazing stuff. Getting another charge into these Iberian Spearmen. Not the best charge. I was just going to hold them up for a little bit while my Mercenary Axe Warriors get a nice rear charge into them. And it looks like we're about to break them. We have finished off the Iberian Slingers over here. There you can see he's hiding one unit over here. Wasn't actually hiding. I don't know why, because it's in the trees. But I could see it throughout the whole battle. These Mercenary Axe Warriors are going to get chased down by these Scutari. They are very tired. The Scutari are winded. I'm not going to be able to get away from that unit there. And annoyingly enough, these units actually stabilize. So I've only got 16 of these Noble Horsemen left. And I've wasted... It's due to my own fault of not getting my charges applied correctly and that kind of thing. So I can only really blame myself for that one. Over here, I'm getting my my support units in here. I'm going to pull away with my Noble Horsemen. Don't want to take too much more damage. I know this Mercenary Axe Warrior is done for with only 12 men left. He's going to chase me off with his Noble Fighters. It doesn't look like they had another Javelin Toss, which is pretty fortunate. Otherwise, they would finish off my Noble Horsemen. These guys are tired, and they are struggling to get back into the fight. I do have a Noble Sword with 36 men left, or 199 kills there. And a Spear Horseman here with also 199 kills. And an Axe Warrior, 39 men left. So with the tools that I've got left, I suppose I could win this battle. Like, I've got the Cav advantage. He's got like one skirmisher, but it's all the way over here. It's not really going to have too much of an effect on the battle. The only thing that I'm really scared of though is this Noble Fighter. They have incredible morale at 73. Good melee defense, good armor, all that kind of thing. But the melee attack and the weapon damage is really what scares me. If I get into an extended melee combat with these units and I'm not applying like rear charges and that kind of thing, then I can't really expect to win the game. So as long as I can kind of get into the rear of my enemy, knock them down with my heavy cav, I should be okay. These Spear Horsemen though, you have to remember, these guys are heavy melee cavs, so they're not going to have too much of an effect on a very heavy melee infantry like these Noble Fighters. I still feel like the weight classes in Total War Rome 2 are a little bit ridiculous. Like those heavy spears are only medium mass. And a lot of other units like I think it's a Militia Hoplites are very heavy spear units. Like, get out of town. That's stupid, man. Or at least change their skins. They're wearing pajamas. Anyway. So I can see he's bringing his slingers over here. So what I'm going to do is try and send my Spear Horseman around out of his range and then get a nice charge into them. He's going to, at some point, try and rush me and get his slingers into the back of my men. But I'm going to start moving away to make sure that I don't take any charges from his men. So I'll just put it on forward here for a second while I finish off these slingers. Here we go, good kill. So I'm not very... I have to admit, in most of the matches that I play, I don't finish the job so well on enemy skirmishes. I'll just put it in fast forward here for a second, just so we kind of get to our attacking position. So yeah, but like, I finish off a couple of units and they inevitably are going to come back and cause even more damage for me. So if I just leave my units in combat for a little bit longer, make sure that I finish off the skirmish unit and then move on to the next one, I'm probably going to be in a better place. But I spent most of the match using my very heavy shot cavalry finishing off his skirmishes, and they're not having the best effect on you know, extended melee, that kind of thing. So what I should have done really is use my spear horsemen purely as cav support, and also as you know, chasing off skirmishes, because they are a lot quicker than the noble horsemen, and they can survive in extended melee. So Conceivable's picked up a position up on this hill. I don't blame him, not at all. He's outnumbered. Actually, no, it's about the balance of power is about even here. I'm just going to call him a cheater. He'll love that. So Conceivable's cheating here, moving up on the hill, and he's camping. Look at him, a filthy camper. So what he does, actually very intelligently, he kind of swaps over his units, and he's going to go after these units with his noble fighters. I'm going to do a bit of a 1-2 punch, knock out his units, and then follow it up with my infantry. You can see I lost a lot of spear horsemen in that initial charge. I didn't do the best amount of damage to those units, but I am going to be able to finish off this GETAE fairly handily there. He's going to pretty much shred my mercenary axe warriors straight off the bat, and I'm gearing up for another rear charge. Going to pull my noble horsemen in here and get a nice intercept. So looking at the charge here, yeah, you can see that my spear horsemen, they just, on impact, they lose a lot of men, and I get a really awkward charge with my noble horsemen there as well. I'm going to have to try and pull away from that engagement. So I do have my noble swords up against his noble fighters. I really should be putting these units onto shield wall, but I have popped battle rhythm and headhunt. So these units are going to have pretty good melee stats themselves. See, look how many men I lose on that charge. It's insane. I do have my noble horsemen over here. We'll see how much they can do. Gonna send them in. Again, like, the charge was just a little bit lackluster. They didn't even seem to connect with any units. I don't think they got any kills in that charge. So just kind of unfortunate. I'm gonna take my noble horsemen out for another charge. Now this is the crucial moment in the battle. So I just need one more rear charge, I feel like, and I didn't get it. My units kind of charged in. They got caught on this unit up here, and they didn't get the charge, which means they're going to get hacked to death by noble fighters. And it's all GG. My general's unit's down to 16 men. They're wavering. I didn't get the charge that I needed. I really should have pulled back and made sure my units were consolidated enough to get a decent charge, but yeah, it's too late. My opponent here isn't allowed to turn around and face me. And again, it's just the weight classes. They're coming up against me, very heavy melee infantry up against heavy spear horsemen. It's not really going to end too well for me. Do get a couple of kills in the charge, but inevitably I'm going to get hacked to pieces by his noble fighters. 518 kills there. Very impressive stuff. Triple XP chevrons. A costly enemy victory for Conceivable. Very good game. Yeah, you can see a lot of his cav were very underwhelming. Celto-Iberian cav don't really seem to do too well, especially when they're coming up against noble horsemen. If I can just shred them on the charge, because I think they're medium cav, so if I get a good charge on those units, I can just shred them. Noble horsemen getting a lot of kills, almost 300, almost 300 on every single one of them, 400 on one of them. Pretty good stuff. Spear horsemen, 270 kills. My mercenary axe warrior is not doing the best. I feel like I shouldn't have brought axe warriors up against the Arevaci. I probably would have done a little bit better with mercenary Celtic warriors, seeing as I don't really need the armor piercing coming up against units like Scutari and Iberian spearmen, that kind of thing, just because I don't really have the best armor to begin with. But these noble fighters, man, doing a very good job. He had 3 of them. Out in the flanks, they did counter my noble swords very well. They actually beat them in a lot of cases, and if it wasn't for my rear charges, they probably would have won them. But yeah, he's Noble Fighter General, getting 521 kills. Amazing stuff. Really good stuff there. These Heavy Spears getting a lot of kills. Getting thrown into cav engagements, that kind of thing. Anyway, once again, thanks for the game, dude. We'll be back very soon with a couple more battles with the AVA clan. Nice bunch of dudes. So we'll see you guys then. Jujubear signing out. Peace.